You're listening to B2B Tech Talk with Ingram Micro, where we share topics that will inspire business growth and help you stay ahead of advances in technology before they become mainstream. This episode is sponsored by Ingram Micro Xvantage, the game-changing platform that will transform your business potential and reshape how customers see you. Welcome, everyone, to this episode of B2B Tech Talk. I'm your host, Nina Buik, and today we're delighted to have Anthony Buonaspina, who is the CEO of LI Tech Advisors out of New York. And Anthony, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Nina. Pleasure to be here and tell you about a little about my company and what we do and what makes us different. All right. I mean, I like to think of us as a orange in a basket of apples. So,
Okay, well, that's what I'm learning about you. So I go to, I've been doing my homework to learn a little bit more about you, and I have to know before we jump in, the hat that you're wearing on your website. There's got to be a story behind the hat.
oh, it's right behind me. I think hanging up on the wall. That's my fedora. It's when I have to go into a business and make them an offer they can't refuse. Um,
Oh,
no, that's all joking aside. I am apparently my kids thought I have 4 children, married 40 years. They thought that a fedora would look good on me, and that they liked it. So I must have like 40 fedoras right now. They keep buying me them. So, and
wow.
that
Well,
the one on the website
congratulations.
happened to be my favorite. So,
I love it. We were talking about your company. So there's several things I want to get to, but talk to us about LI Tech Advisors and what you do and who's your typical customer?
okay. Well, first of all, I've been doing this for over 30 years. My background's engineering. So we're a very technical company in the sense of even my receptionist is a techie. So basically, I've been doing this for a while now, and we must have pivoted our company a dozen times already, just based on what the customers want, the industry, shapes itself as. But we're pretty much a managed service provider, by the way, MSP, which I hate the acronym, hate being even called that, but we're more technical advisors, okay, with an
Mhm.
MSP component. We also had done custom software. We're kind of sunsetting that part of the business, but we do have customers that we're still supporting on it, simply because it was it was a very lucrative part of the business, as well as also helped clients out a lot. We're able to answer a question for them by putting the right type of software in there. We have, as far as our clientele, we do a lot of schools, mainly private schools. We do fire districts. We offer 24/7, 365 support, which is very important. We'll do attorneys, manufacturing, accounting firms, and many other types of businesses as well. It really doesn't really matter type of business. We can handle it all. It's just computers pretty much and compliances. Each business has their own set of rules they need to go by, and we make sure they follow them.
Fantastic. So you talked about adjusting to your clients' needs through your, all the years that you've been in business. When did you experience the biggest shift that said, wow, now what do we do?
Well, I think everybody will answer this one. COVID, the pandemic shut us down, but it didn't really. What happened was that a year before pandemic even hit, because of the snowstorms and internet outages and problems, I always had one technician working from home.
Mhm.
I started setting that up in case of a problem. So I set them up with a home base and they can go test it out. When the pandemic hit, we hit the ground running. And a lot of our clients did too. Why? Because a year before they saw what we were doing, and I kind of rolled that into them as well, saying, "Look, you can work from home if need be. You have a snowstorm, traffic, you're ill."
Yeah.
I'm finding much more. I'm getting like 120% productivity out of my employees now because we're still working remote. Most of us. We have a beautiful office in Babylon Village, absolutely beautiful. And Sam, who's Samantha is my marketing person. She's goes there, and we also have one day a month we all go to the office, just to, in person day. But we have the working remotely working really well. I have people that, two of my employees moved out of state, no problem. They're still 100% effective. And I now hired somebody in Ohio. Um, it doesn't matter. It's we now limitless as far as where we can hire. And we've gotten this working through very well, in the sense of being able to expand. We're completely serverless, which again we did this before the pandemic, and I got many clients to do this too. We use something called the Modern Office, which is basically using Microsoft's Workspace on steroids. We configure it and everything basically, and we're able to. Even our phone system is all cloud-based using Teams. We're very heavily and lean heavily into Microsoft. So, because of that, we're able to withstand a lot of the changes and so on. We're able to pivot nicely, and also adjust our company's culture and so on, in order to, like, we listen to our clients, and you get feedback from the clients as far as directions they're going, and what their pains are and how we can help fill the gap. That's why we become more technical advisors. Yeah, anybody could be an MSP pretty much. I mean, but, you put the tools out there, you monitor them stuff, but we have people and processes on top of that now. We make sure we have regular cadences with the clients. We talk about what their personal growths are as far as the business goes, and we work that into an overall strategic plan for them, so that there's no surprises. So that's what separates us a lot, is the people and processes we put on top of our typical tools that we deploy, and also internally in Tuon, we incorporate AI a lot, but we do it safely, which is a big thing. We also teach our clients about it, because right now, many of the clients that come to us, they're very fearful of it. They
Mhm.
don't realize what it is, and they right away think it's going to be a bad thing. And we go in and we ruffle, smooth those edges on that and explain to them. We do free webinars, once a month, just for education. Did one on cybersecurity, but it's not just for the business; it's also personal. What you need to do personally to protect yourself, because that's going to affect the business as well. And we do a lot of in-person events. We did one recently at a hall near us, that we invited a lot of clients down, prospects down, and what we call COIs, Center of Influences, other companies we work with that we have a synergistic relationship with. And we had a murder mystery, death of a company after a ransomware attack. It was great. Had an open bar. It was great because that had to cushion the blow of what I
Of
covered.
course. Okay, you talked about culture, and I'm going to reference you were written up in Newsday for your retention of keeping employees. A lot of times, we know the tech industry, a lot of times people move from company to company, but the of the top three reasons that people leave jobs, culture is number three. So, what is it about your culture that prompted you to be recognized in that article and keeps people staying with LI Tech Advisors?
We're very employee centric. They're more important than my clients. Okay, because I got to make sure if they're being taken care of well, and their environment is well, the work is good, they're going to take care of the clients, and the clients are going to love them. All right, so we have regular team building and so on, but the culture is such that, again, employee centric. We have regular meetings with all the employees on a regular basis, at least once a week on an individual basis. And we have these, we call them TPAs, what works, what doesn't. Those are think, plan, action meetings, and we generate them from GSD meetings, which is keep this clean, but get stuff done. Okay, and those meetings generate what meetings we need to have, and everybody's involved in them. We want to talk about what are the needle moves for the company, what would the employees like to see happen with the company, and then we turn it out and say, okay, these are the main heavy hitters that we need to address. We have a cadence of meetings for them, and it could be weekly, could be monthly, quarterly, depending on what the need is for those meetings. But we also have the one-on-ones with the employees to discuss their personal growth, where they want. Well, we also do disc profiles to make sure we have the right people in the right role, because it keeps people happy, keeps the employees happy. The fact that one of the things was working remotely, we don't have to deal with the traffic, the gas prices. We don't have to deal with somebody sick. I have employees that are working, even their little sniffles and everything. I don't want them at the office, but they're still working. And not only are they working, but I see them checking in sometime 10 o'clock at night just to check in on something. And I'm not asking them to do that. That's why I say I'm getting more out of them now than I did when they used to come to the office. Again, beautiful office we have. They're welcome to come whenever they want, and when they do come, they get free lunch.
How about that? That's amazing. So just to recap, your employees are actually part of your growth strategy. They influence your growth strategy, and
Absolutely.
in return, um, they give you their loyalty, and loyalty not only to you, and if I'm hearing you correctly, to your customers as well, which is really what you want. I love that, putting the employees first. Okay, so so they reached out to you. How did they find you to write that article?
Oh, one of the again, I'm in many different chamber committees. I'm usually a guest speaker, keynote speaker. I'm on panels. I do a lot of this, just raising awareness as the businesses on
Yeah.
cybersecurity, AI, compliances. Even we do American Disabilities Act, WCAG
Hmm.
compliance. We do it as a courtesy, just to tell if businesses are out of compliance, and I raise their awareness. So out of that, I mean, through all that, one of the I got an email about an article that was written in Newsday, or somebody published something where it was about retention and how a third of the workforce is now leaving this year. Anybody under 30 is leaving. They're and looking for another job. And I'm like, that means the culture of that business is not right. And I'm saying I took a different twist on it than what they were expecting. They were saying, how about how go out and look for new employees and so on. And I looked at that as, well, apparently we're doing everything right. Number one. Number two, people leaving opens up the door for me hiring, good talent that's leaving one company because of culture. It's usually not because of money. It's usually the culture. So that's where that prompted. I responded back to that email. Next thing I know, I got a email back. They were very interested in my take on it, and they I sent them a little more information. Next thing I know, they sent a video crew to the office that they wanted to have a one-on-one with me.
How about that? Well, that's fantastic, and I couldn't agree with you more. And I hear this more and more often regarding the direct connect between company success, sustainable company success, and employee satisfaction. It's not a dotted line, it's a direct line.
Yeah.
And so hats off to you. Speaking of hats off to you. So let's talk about Ingram. So you have a very strong relationship with Ingram Micro and TrustX Alliance. Talk to us about that relationship.
Well, that I have to give kudos to Guy Brown in Jersey who brought me in. Okay,
I
Anne,
love
who I
Guy.
love, and
I love
I
Guy.
and I love Anne. She was like my first contact, and I knew right off the bat this was for me because you, Ingram is going to help me grow beyond my capabilities right now. I mean, I have resources I never thought I would have before, and every time I go, like one of the best things that I did with Ingram was the meetings. Nashville was awesome. The leadership meeting in California was one of the best conferences I ever went to. That was I had so many takeaways from that, including this nice little book that the old-fashioned way. I was told to leave my laptop behind, and I actually wrote my notes down. It was very refreshing, and I got to say, I still refer to that book. It was a very just that alone was a good reason to be membership of the TrustX Alliance within Ingram. And again, the resources and the cadences I have with Paul, for example, and so on. It's just a great relationship right now.
That is fantastic. So, and I've heard nothing but wonderful things about that conference. I mean, everyone that attended had great things to say. What was your big takeaway from when you came back from that conference? You said, "Wow,
Yeah.
this this is the thing."
Well, the leadership forum, that was awesome. I may not remember everybody's name that gave it, but yeah, that was Mark Sanborn. He was awesome. All right. Each of the speakers, I got to say, everyone was great. Okay. He stood out,
Mhm.
as well as also the kickoff meeting with Dan Thurman. With the balancing, keeping life in balance,
Yeah.
that was amazing. Please have him back.
Okay.
Those were the takeaways. Is that I was able to actually learn, and the way you formatted the meeting was very unique. Was very good because after every one of the breakout sessions, we were broken into pods. We were
Mhm.
allowed to talk amongst us and recap what we all learned and what were the takeaways from it. That was good, those few minutes. And then the breakout sessions, like even after lunch and so on, it was just to be able to talk and talk with other like influencers
Yeah.
and the the leads of some of these like the CEOs of some other organizations. It was awesome being just collaborating.
Yeah, and it's funny because and it's a brilliant idea because we go to these events and we all have things going through our mind and we hear certain things and other people hear certain things. So you might miss what someone else caught, and to be able to recap that and to discuss it is really, really powerful.
Mm-hmm.
When we spoke before, we were talking about books and books that influence you, but you told me about the book club. Talk to me about the book club and share with everyone how you guys
Well,
implement that.
Well, basically, I mean, we have an exec meeting in the early morning before the day starts. All right, that's every day except Fridays. So I'm off tomorrow. But basically, what happens? We talk about what strategies building. We also do like we're discussing certain roles of employees, or like we're thinking about a service manager right now. Do we really need one, or do we have a gap there? And we're actually coming up with, can we process it out? So we have these kind of meetings in the morning, and out of that too is we also discuss, books that we've read that will help us, nurture us. Basically, also help us make these decisions properly.
Mhm,
And
mhm.
we each typically read a different book, and we compare our notes. And I'll be told, like, Anthony, you should be reading this book. This is right up your alley. You're the CEO. You should be doing
Yeah.
this. This will help you with decisions and leadership. So we have that, and we have actually a Google sheet now of all the books we've each read, along with a synopsis of what it was about and so on. And then of course we're using AI to help summarize the book before we even read it, so we know key points we should be focusing on. And then afterwards we regroup again to see, again using AI to see the points that we had taken, what notes, um, and so on. But it's that book club is very instrumental, and we also use it for our employees too. We'll recommend books for them as well now,
Oh,
so
that's
it's a good thing.
wonderful, wonderful. You mentioned a book, one of your favorites, Never Split the Difference. If I was to
Mhm.
run that through Chat GPT, give me what summary would I get?
Basically, it's all about negotiation and so on, and never really you kind of like never give back. You never diminish what your services are. All
Yeah.
right. And it's a tactic of how to actually negotiate and everything. It's a win-win scenario.
Okay. Well,
It,
I'm going to read it. It's on my list
mhm,
now.
mhm. Yeah.
Let's go back. We were talking about Trust X Alliance, and you mentioned the leadership event. And again, I'm so excited that you shared that because so many people have shared the same. So very consistent feedback, and everybody loved the notebook too. But you know what
Mhm.
I think it was? I think they liked ditching the laptop a little bit more than, than
Yeah.
just having the notebook. It was feeling freedom to
Mhm.
ditch the laptop.
Yes, because a lot of stuff I write in the laptop, I forget where I even put it. All right, the notes and so on. Plus, I'm a boomer. I mean, I was brought up with pen and pencil. So, basically, I thought it was extremely refreshing. I filled that book. All right, actually, to the
Nice.
point where I needed more room. I started using the pages in the back. So it was very, and again, I'm referring to it. And it's nice that I can go back to that book and actually see my thoughts, my processes, and so on in there. Um, it, and again, leaving the laptop behind, it's one less thing I had to carry, plug in, and we don't have to worry about the surge strips in the rooms, and so on. It was a very refreshing to do that.
That's fantastic. Okay, so you were inspired by Guy Barone and
Mhm.
also Ann Setter, right?
Oh yeah, and Setter,
Okay,
absolutely.
so
She's
tell
amazing.
me,
Mhm.
she is amazing. I would agree with you. So, how did Anne help you within TrustX so that you can continue to network and do all the wonderful things, advocacy, networking, education? How did she help?
Well, number one, she helped facilitate contacts I needed. I told her what I needed to do. She put me in contact with the right people, and those people put me in contact with the right people. She's also very transparent. I mean, telling me what worked, what didn't, what I should be attending, what I shouldn't be. She was right out there. There was no filter, which I loved. She's a very dynamic one person, and even going through Nashville. I don't know if I'm supposed to say this, but she able to get me into to events that we weren't invited to. It
Okay.
was great.
Go
I got to meet
Ann.
people and so on that that I normally wouldn't have been able to get into. So thank you, Ann, for that, and hopefully can get you into trouble.
It helps to
Uh,
know people at Ingram Micro.
oh, absolutely. So that
That's
was a
wonderful.
very good thing. And again, I'm still finding benefit from even those meetings from the past, because even talking, I gotta say, talking to the other MSPs, even on the
Mhm,
bus ride, I was able to get, like, we're utilizing outsourced, technical services now
mhm.
that I didn't know existed, and I'm utilizing them now to expand my reach now beyond my regional area. So if I have a client that also has offices in California and upstate, or wherever, I can service them now.
So a trusted you were able to expand your geographic reach
Hmm.
and your portfolio by leveraging those trusted relationships.
Yes.
That's fantastic.
Hmm.
Um, uh, One, let's talk about Ingram Micro One. You've been to a few of them, right? And you've been to some of those exclusive parties. What jumps out at you when you think of Ingram Micro One?
Oh, again, the fact that I was able to collaborate with other companies like
Mhm.
myself and
Okay.
speak to them, and and actually not have to worry about what information I'm giving them, because they're not in my
Yeah.
backyard.
Yeah.
And and what happens is that I find out what works and what doesn't before I have to go through it myself and go through three failures before getting to the right one. If Guy, for example, suggests something, I just go ahead with it. I don't
Yeah.
even think about it. Don't interview anybody else. I just say, well, Guy says it, it must be good.
I love it.
A Guy, just so you know, I love Guy, and he's really, a very bright man, and I very treasure his advice.
So again, congratulations on Anthony on all your successes. And my takeaways from this conversation are about creating that right culture for your associates, for your employees, engaging them, getting their buy-in on the direction that the company is going
Hmm.
really helps make them feel like they're actually part of leading this organization. Kudos to you. It takes a special person to be able to, leave that presidential uh, hat at the door and allow your associates to be able to influence you in that way. So
Hmm.
that's humble leadership, and that's the best kind.
Oh yeah, I make sure I tell, I mean, even Sam, who's my marketing person. I tell her, I listen to her. I mean, she tells me what to do, where to go, whatever, and I'm like, she's my boss when it comes to the marketing. Eastern employees, we have these meetings where we discuss, hey, like, for example, we have a retirement program in place. Why? That's one of the things that came up at the meeting. Hey,
Yeah.
what do we have regarding that? Health benefits. What can we do? Well, we have something set up now for that, because listening to the employees, what their needs are. What do they look, what do they need personally? Again, I have to be, these days, if I was to run my business the way I did 30 years ago, I'd probably be arrested because of the questions I used to ask. I used to know about the personal nature that, who my employees
Yeah.
are. And, so I just let them do the talking now, and whatever they tell me, and I say, all right, listen. And, I try to pivot the business, or even expand the business's capabilities sometimes based on what my employees are saying.
What you mentioned talking to people about AI. How have those conversations been going? You mentioned some trepidation. Uh, how how do you frame that conversation so that you get them off the fear ledge
Mm.
and more engaged?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. I go through, first of all, and I explain, it's a double-edged sword. Yeah, it can be, depending on the hands it's in, it could be used for bad or
Yeah.
really good. And I explained to them that 80% of everything we know right now is about to change, okay, because of AI. And the 20% that's left over, what makes you you and what makes your company unique, is going to be multiplied by 1,000. It's going to change things, and we got to be ready
Mhm.
for it. and what do we need to do to get ready, and how to use it securely. These are the things I cover because you can't just turn on Copilot or AI in
Mhm.
generally to an organization without an AI policy in place.
Right.
Make sure all the employees understand what this means and the ramifications. You want to wall off some data, for example, that Copilot can just look at and analyze, and but you want to make sure it's not touching some other data that's maybe sensitive. Okay. But it's how to use it properly. I use a perfect case in point. I used, again, cleansed information, but I was overhearing a conversation, my wife talking to her sister about their brother, and it was about some, he had stomach, food poisoning, they thought. All right. So I was listening to the symptoms. I put it into ChatGPT, everything I was hearing. ChatGPT came back with he's having a stroke, rushed him to a hospital immediately. So I chimed into that conversation. I told him, I said, go get him. I'll go pick him up and bring him there, whatever. Bottom line is, an hour or two later, he was at the hospital. He had a stroke.
Oh my goodness, Anthony,
So
that's amazing.
this is the power of AI.
Oh my goodness. This has not only been a masterclass in leadership, but holy smokes, that is incredible. And even if it wasn't, better to err on, the side of caution. And
Absolutely.
that is incredible.
Hmm.
Wow. Well, this has been such a great conversation. I know that I can speak on behalf of everyone at Ingram and everyone that's part of the Trust X Alliance leadership. Thank you. Thank you for, I know that you give as much as you get. When it comes to attending and participating in the conferences and the
Hmm.
events. So thank you for that. We really appreciate you. And this has been, I've learned some things. So personally, thank you for that. And I hope to see you at one. Yes.
Hmm. Absolutely. I'm registered. I am going. Wouldn't miss it.
Fantastic.
Hmm.
Well, I will see you there in about 8 short weeks. So I look forward to it.
Okay, Nina, thank you so much.
You're
Have a
welcome.
great day.
You too. Impactful global engagements, iconic entertainment experiences, and memorable networking opportunities. Be part of it all at Ingram Micro One 2024.
You've been listening to Ingram Micro's B2B Tech Talk. Thanks for tuning in. If you like this episode and you want to continue the conversation online, use hashtag B2B Tech Talk.